The question of what happens after we die has puzzled humanity for centuries. Philosophers, scientists, and spiritual leaders have all tried to understand the mystery of death, and whether or not life continues beyond it. Some find comfort in the belief that our consciousness persists, while others are more skeptical. But can we scientifically prove life after death? Is there a way to validate this concept beyond faith and personal experiences? To start, it's important to acknowledge that death, from a biological standpoint, is the cessation of all vital functions in the body. The heart stops beating, brain activity ceases, and cells begin to deteriorate. For centuries, this has been considered the end of life. However, modern science, with its advancement in fields like neurology, quantum physics, and near-death experience, NDE, research, is beginning to raise new questions. Could it be possible that what we perceive as death is merely a transition, rather than an end? One area of research that has piqued interest is the study of near-death experiences. People who have been declared clinically dead and later revived often report a consistent set of experiences: seeing a bright light, floating outside their bodies, encountering deceased loved ones, or feeling a sense of overwhelming peace. What makes these accounts particularly intriguing is that they are strikingly similar across cultures, backgrounds, and belief systems. While some argue these experiences are merely the brain's way of coping with trauma, others see them as evidence of something more, proof that consciousness may survive the death of the body. Some scientists have tried to explain near-death experiences by pointing to chemical changes in the brain during the process of dying. When the brain is deprived of oxygen, it can trigger hallucinations or heightened sensations. This could explain the visions of light or the feeling of peace. However, this explanation doesn't satisfy everyone, especially when we consider cases where people report seeing and hearing events that occurred in the physical world while they were clinically dead. These verifiable accounts are difficult to dismiss. For example, some patients have reported conversations that took place in the operating room or have accurately described details of their surroundings, even though they were pronounced clinically dead at the time. These experiences raise an interesting possibility: could consciousness exist independently of the brain? If so, where does it go after death? Quantum physics offers another perspective on the nature of consciousness and its possible continuation after death. Some researchers believe that consciousness is not confined to the brain but is instead a fundamental aspect of the universe. In this view, the brain acts as a receiver for consciousness, much like a radio picks up signals. When the body dies, the signal doesn't disappear, it simply returns to its source. This theory aligns with certain spiritual beliefs, which propose that the soul or spirit transcends the physical body. One of the most compelling figures in the scientific exploration of consciousness and life after death is Dr. Stuart Hameroff, an anesthesiologist and professor known for his work on quantum consciousness. Hameroff, along with British physicist Sir Roger Penrose, has proposed the theory of orchestrated objective reduction, orchestroar. According to this theory, consciousness arises from quantum processes in the brain's microtubules, which are tiny structures found within neurons. When a person dies, the quantum information in the microtubules is not destroyed but rather dissipates into the universe. If the person is revived, this information can return to the body. If not, it continues to exist outside the body. Critics argue that the orchestroar theory is speculative and lacks empirical evidence. However, it does provide an interesting framework for understanding how consciousness might survive death. Additionally, it opens the door for further research into the intersection of quantum mechanics and neuroscience, a field that may one day provide more concrete answers about the nature of life and death. Another angle to consider is the role of energy in our understanding of life after death. According to the first law of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only change forms. If consciousness is a form of energy, then, in theory, it should persist in some form after death. This idea is supported by certain Eastern philosophies, such as Buddhism and Hinduism, which teach that the soul reincarnates and that life is a continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. From a scientific standpoint, however, the challenge lies in finding a way to measure or detect this energy. While technologies like electroencephalograms, EEGs, can measure brain activity, no instruments currently exist that can detect consciousness once the brain has ceased functioning. Without tangible evidence, the concept of life after death remains speculative, at least for now. It's also worth noting that many skeptics argue that the search for proof of life after death is rooted in human fear of the unknown. The thought of ceasing to exist is unsettling, and the idea of an afterlife offers comfort. From this perspective, near-death experiences, reports of ghosts, and other paranormal phenomena could simply be the result of wishful thinking or the brain's attempt to create meaning in the face of death. Despite these skeptical viewpoints, there are countless personal accounts of individuals who claim to have had contact with deceased loved ones or experienced things they cannot explain. While these anecdotes cannot be considered scientific proof, they do suggest that the human experience of death is more complex than we might think. Even those who are scientifically inclined may acknowledge that there are mysteries surrounding life and death that remain unsolved. Ultimately, the question of whether life continues after death may never be fully answered in the scientific realm. Our understanding of consciousness, the brain, and the universe is still evolving, and it's possible that the answers lie in areas we have yet to explore. For now, belief in life after death remains a deeply personal matter, shaped by individual experiences, cultural traditions, and spiritual beliefs. The idea of life after death touches something deeply human in all of us. Whether you approach it with skepticism or belief, the concept stirs a sense of wonder, encouraging us to look beyond the confines of the physical world. It sparks curiosity about what consciousness truly is and how it interacts with the universe in ways we may not fully understand yet. Is there a realm beyond this life where our thoughts, emotions, and identities continue to exist, even after the body ceases to function? Some believe that death is not an end but rather a transition, perhaps to another dimension, a different state of being, or even a return to some cosmic origin. What lies beyond this threshold may be completely beyond human comprehension, but the possibility alone invites reflection. Does our essence, our soul, if you will, retain some form of individuality after death? Or do we become part of something larger and more universal, losing the personal self while gaining connection to something greater? These are profound questions that offer fertile ground for speculation and exploration. In conclusion, while science has made strides in understanding the mechanics of the brain and the nature of consciousness, we are still far from proving or disproving the existence of life after death. Theories like quantum consciousness and the study of near-death experiences offer intriguing possibilities, but they also raise more questions than they answer. Whether we will ever have definitive proof remains to be seen. However, the search for answers is likely to continue, driven by our inherent curiosity and desire to understand the ultimate fate that awaits us all. As humans, we are naturally drawn to explore the unknown, and the mystery of what happens after death may be one of the greatest enigmas we face. Whether or not we find scientific proof of life after death, the pursuit of understanding keeps us engaged with the deeper questions of existence. In the end, perhaps it is this very quest for knowledge that gives life its meaning. In the end, the exploration of what lies beyond this life is an ongoing mystery. We find ourselves caught between scientific inquiry and personal beliefs, searching for answers that may remain elusive. Yet, this quest opens the door to new ways of thinking about consciousness, energy, and existence itself. While concrete proof of life after death may still be out of reach, the questions raised by near-death experiences, quantum theories, and the persistence of consciousness lead us to reflect deeply on what it means to be alive. These concepts stretch our imagination and challenge the boundaries of what we understand. Whether through the lens of science or spirituality, the conversation about life after death invites us to question, explore, and stay curious. Each perspective offers a glimpse into the profound complexity of life and death, showing us that there's still much to be uncovered about the true nature of existence. This search, while often rooted in uncertainty, can spark meaningful discussions about our place in the universe. Now, before we continue on this fascinating journey together, I'd love for you to take a moment to help support this channel. If you're enjoying this exploration of life after death, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more intriguing content. Your engagement helps spread this conversation to more people who are interested in these profound topics. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our future discussions that get into the mysteries of life, death, and everything in between. You won't want to miss the insights and discoveries that lie ahead. I'd also like to invite you to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. What are your views on life after death? Do you believe that there's more beyond this physical existence? Engaging with others in the comments is a great way to expand the conversation. And if you found value in today's video, hit the like button and subscribe to stay connected. With your support, we can keep bringing content that challenges our minds and encourages deeper thinking about life's greatest mysteries.